I have with me today Bob, and Bob has a radio show and so much more going on. We just had a quick little conversation before this, and we should have hit record, right? So hopefully we could dive back into some of what was shared. But I connected with you guys a while ago through a mutual friend of ours, and you have this radio show going on, and I'd love for you to share more about that as we go through this. And it just opened up my eyes to people like yourself, that just want to get voices heard, right? And get it out there because people need to hear it, right? And I know you're big into race cars and everything and all that whole bunch of other stuff that you have with your radio show. And we can dive in all that. Um, I'm so curious and so fascinated by the reasons why, and what led you to this, right? So as we begin our conversation, I would just love for you, Bob, just start with, you know, who are you today, right? And you can bring up a little bit of what we just spoke about if you like, you're transitioning through things. And we could dive back. I want to go backwards and realize, what did you go through to get to where you are today? And, light up other people with your show and everything else you have going on. So who are you today, Bob?
So I'm Robert West, and I'm programming director of RadioBobUSA.com, which is not just a show, but it has shows on it, much like yours, randomly is used on it. We really appreciate that. But we have not only shows, but we play music 24/7 across the internet. So we're available worldwide. There isn't a single part of this planet where we're turned off at the moment. That doesn't mean people are going to listen to us. It just means that we're available for them to listen. Because of this, we play music, we play premium music, we pay royalties for it. We are a non-profit entity in the state of California, so we have some advantages there on use of music. And I do want to get into the start of this, but I'll give the last part of the station is at www.radiobobusa.com, and there is an app for Android for you to listen, or you can listen on the homepage. And the idea was to present a music stream with no politics, no commercials, no bent, nothing weird on it, with premium music, rhythm, blues, jazz, rock and roll, classic rock and roll, even some 40s and 50s beatnik stuff. When it mixes, it makes it. And we have some new music that's supplied by artists all over the world, including legends like Joe Bonamassa and Robert Trower, who directly give me music to play on our station before it's released. We have a pretty big presence in Germany and in the United Kingdom, as well as in the United States. And I'll tell you what started it really kind of quickly, if I can, was we came out of the pandemic, and my wife and I had been RVers. We had been travelers. We like to go to air shows, fire festivals, functions, 4th of July's, whatnot. And we would take our van out for a week at a time and go to these functions. And the pandemic came along and it started to squeeze everybody indoors, and it stopped people from doing interpersonal communications. Those communications were done over the internet or over the phone or by text. And what's really nice is you have a delay with those. So you have time to think about your response or not respond, which is now what's happening most. So we came out of the pandemic, and I realized that a lot of people weren't talking to each other, and I was trying to find a functional way to get people talking again without them paying attention to their phone every minute and looking in it as if looking into the phone was the answer. I wanted people to think that they could be the answer. So in talking to my wife, we had done a bunch of videotaping. So we had a bunch of video gear, and we'd done a bunch of traveling. So we were familiar with events. We'd been racing and to all these other different things. And so a friend of ours had a daughter who died. It was a tragic situation that we believe was self-inflicted. And there was a lot of talking afterwards about people not talking to her because she didn't call them. And so I wanted to stand on the soapbox and call everybody out and say, wait, 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 it's not her job to call you. It's your job to call her. I said, this communication thing works two ways. I send you an email, you send me one that says you're not interested, or you send me one that says, let's talk. But we talk to each other. That's what we do as human beings. And so I was telling this to my wife, and I said, video and podcasting is great because people listen to podcasts when they jog. They don't necessarily look at the screen. I said, but I said, what we really want to do is give people a way they can turn something on and just walk away from it. We don't have to worry about skipping songs we don't like or fast forwarding or listening at double speed because we have to be somewhere. We'll just listen and get to it. And so I presented her with the idea of building this radio station and making it a nonprofit and then putting in services through life coaches and through assistance services that we aren't necessarily the ones doing it, that maneuver people in pain or in problem to those services. And we've been successful with that. I think 6 times to the present of getting somebody that's requested assistance and then running them through a life coach program or a similar program to help them find some balance and get kind of back on track again. And just recently, we found that we don't get as much response to that as we have with supporting the youth and supporting the youth in motorsports. So we've decided to increase that a little bit and keep those services and keep people communicating and keep telling them that they have a chance to do something. But at the same time, support the youth in motorsports because it builds a generational base for our industries here in California and around the world, actually. So that's what we're doing. And it's a big task.
Yeah, it is a big task. I know you're doing a lot of hard work behind the scenes, that's for sure. And I know you go to a lot of race car shows, if I'm right. Um,
Yep.
and that seems where you draw the most attention. So you came out of the pandemic and you went and started this. And then you and I just had this conversation and how you're transitioning through something now. So why don't you just share a little bit about what that is? And then how do you see that correlating with the business you have, with the radio show, et cetera, right? And what's the next level? What are you planning to do?
Well, the hopes of having the radio station, it's accompanied Facebook channels, it's YouTube channels, and the fact that we 24-hour broadcast. The idea was to build a sustainable income stream that we could support some youth and motorsports programs here in California. And we could find avenues so that the college programs, which are called Mechtronics, could place students across the country because not everybody that graduates from Sierra College in Sacramento, California, wants to work in California. I don't know about you, but I didn't want to live with my parents after a certain point, so I wanted to move away, right? I wanted to prove I could do something. Some move a little further from the egg, some don't. Some never move. We get that. So the idea was to kind of build this database, this network of people through this grassroots racing industry. And this only developed the second year after we started because we found that we could tell people about the radio station online, and they wouldn't click. If we talked to somebody in person, we had about a 1 in 5 chance that they would listen. And so when we started doing events, our return rate on noticing our hits to our website, our Facebook pages, our YouTube channels, everything else increased by almost 100-fold. We meet anywhere from 100 to 150,000 people a year out in public. That's why we go racing. So when people say, oh yeah, I'm donating to this nonprofit, they have a golf tournament once a year and then they spend the rest of the time lobbying people. Okay, that's great. But if you sponsor me and you're FH Daily or Hot Rod Innovations or Citrus Heights Mower or whoever you happen to be, you should know that your name's not only going to be on the radio 24/7 worldwide, but that your name's going to be seen in public and people are going to ask how we got here. And I'm going to tell them it's because of you. And so those people who help us do that also help us supply those services to other people. And so when we have money, which is very seldom, then we channel it to the youth and racing programs and the youth sports organizations like the Bonneville High School or the Lincoln Bike Park or whatever it is that will promote youth into STEM areas because that's where we need them. I know AI is the big thing, but I came from, and I just retired. We talked about that, but I did just retire. I came from 50 years of working industry. We are hurting for candidates. You can't graduate them fast enough for industry right now. Nothing can be built fast enough. There's not enough trained people to do it. AI is great. I can make more money. At the end
Yeah.
of the day, I was making more money, right? And so, but I was physically transitioned. I had to retire. So now that I'm doing that, I'm going to put the time and money into the station. Would I like to see it gain a little bit more in its support? Yes. And if it doesn't, I'll keep paying for it because I go to the events, because I meet the kids, and because we interact, and because we have an opportunity to help people and share these stories, and including your content and other people's content, which includes NASA supplies me with a show. I have a jazz show out of the University of Hartford, Connecticut that's awesome. My blues show from Western Australia. I listen to it and I get it pre-recorded. I can hear it anytime I want, as often as I want, yet I'll tune into my own station and listen to it for an hour before I go to sleep. Same with the jazz show. My Drags List podcast, that gentleman has been doing some form of radio show for 40 years.
Hmm.
He's a legend. And when he said, "Hey, you can use my content," I don't say no, because like your content, we scavenge it. We don't we don't develop original content at all, except for JB in the morning, and we have live morning drives. So for an internet radio station that has no money and no support that hardly anybody listens to, we have these really outrageous educational and music programs from the Grateful Dead to NASA, and then we have live morning drive and surf reports 3 days a week. And then for fun, we go auto racing with people like Danny Thompson and Tony Stewart and Leah Pruitt and the rest of them. We're out there with them. It's okay. We're also out there with the little guys like Tom, over at Petaluma Speedway. But they're great. They're family and they're fun and there's so much knowledge and they're so
Yeah.
friendly. And dirt track racing it's American. It's gladiatorial sport.
Yeah, I can't say the last time I went to one. I think I took my, yeah, I think I took the kids to one. But yeah, I remember going with my grandfather to the one around here, which still exists. There's a couple of them, and yeah, it's cool. It's cool to watch them, right? And they're different. So I know it's like the car you have behind here on this video, but there's a
Yeah.
couple other ones where it's more like a NASCAR car style, I guess you could say. I don't
Sure.
really know
Sure.
all
There's
the details.
modifieds and yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it,
So
yeah,
on
go
our
ahead.
Yeah, on our YouTube channel, we show the difference, and we're actually in the process of doing some episodes on discussing different things about racing, because a lot of people like you might go to a race but have never been to one.
Mhm.
Or they've been to one, but it's been a long time and they're not sure what they're going to expect, And it's funny because we're at the dirt races and we're in our booth and we're watching people go up into the stands and we'll see some guy with a hot dog in one hand and a beer in the other. And we know he's a rookie
Yeah.
because he didn't leave a way to cover up his food. you know,
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah.
right? We're at a dirt
Or
track and
so
it's
I remember taking goggles, right? Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Right. When I went
Uh,
to we went to the NHRA race last year at Sonoma. We were guests at Sonoma, and I was very grateful to the NHRA for having us. We didn't make it in this year. It wasn't enough space for us. It was a big year for them, 75th year. So that's okay. That happens. But they stupidly enough gave me video privileges. So I
hmm.
had a video vest on, and I had my giant camera, which is I call it my door opener. It's pretty large, and so I took it down to the track, and I was wearing earplugs and headgear when I was next to the cars. I was about 8 feet away from who drives the monster car? I can't remember her name, Ashley Force or whoever her name was. Anyway, I was about 8 feet away from that thing when it took off. And it's 12,400 plus horsepower delivered in less than 1/20th of a second to the tires.
Wow.
And it's just this insane amount of force and sound. And the first, because they gave me the thing, I'm going to get as close as I can. Nobody else would get that close. You got to
Mhm.
try it, right? You're out there, right?
Yeah.
You got to do it. And so that's what we're doing here is we're saying the same thing. We're telling people that in between the songs, instead of telling them to buy Crest toothpaste, we're saying get outside.
Mhm.
We're saying go to the woods. Jump on a boat. Go to a racetrack. Listen to what Aaron says about being in a car, and how it centers them. Listen to our friend, the outsider, the backpacker, and how it centers them. We got another guy who plays with explosives. He's great. He's very well balanced.
Wow. That's impressive. Yeah. So you got a whole bunch of stuff all across the board. Anybody can tap into it. They can listen to
Sure.
it, enjoy whatever they like. I love the fact that you're able to bring so much different stuff to one platform and share it like that. I have a question since I have a podcast and you have a radio show. I'm curious to know what you think the difference is between the two.
Well, so your podcast, you have, I assume, a space that you can go to, and I can pick you up from day one.
Hmm.
So if you're Joe Rogan or John Emery or whoever you are that you happen to be out there in podcast land, you're on number 437, and I just found you on 437. Well, now I can go to your site and I can binge those podcasts if I feel that you are a member of my tribe or I'm validated or whatever it is that brings me to you, right? And you can go merrily along your way. We have no archive capability whatsoever. We stream it as an original radio station, Wolfman Jack style station streams. If we screw up, and I do mean screw up, you'll hear it. And we don't announce the songs in between. We don't tell you what time it is. We don't give you the weather in Peru or, down in St. Lauderdale, Fort Lauderdale, or any of that. That's not our job. Our job is to present you with some music that won't offend you, that will keep you pretty square and deal pretty well during the day. It has something to it. It's not just rock and roll. It's good rock and roll. It's not just rock and roll. It's classic rock and roll. It's War. It's Edwin Starr. It's a Blood, Sweat, and Tears. It's a beautiful day. Bands you probably haven't heard since you were a kid, but they had one or two hits that you knew, and you were like, what happened to those? The regular rock and roll stations won't play those. They have to play Queen every hour or two. They have to. They have to do these certain things that makes me sick. And so what we've said was, okay, during the day we'll play some rock and roll, but we won't make it offensive. We won't let language get biased. It's kind of too raunchy or something like that. And even though we'll play for the West Coast because that's fine, but pretty much from 6 a.m. in the morning until 4 a.m. in the afternoon, we keep it pretty clean. Why? Because I've walked into stores and they're playing my station. Okay, that's a win.
Yeah.
That's a win. So then what are you going to say to that point is, okay, people are counting on some content from me and they can't archive me. So I'm going to have to make it so they can tune in and expect content from a certain time to a certain time every day or 4 days a week, which is what we do. So from 7 p.m. our time to 10 p.m. our time, you got a chance of being educated 4 days a week. On Sundays, you got to put up with some music shows. So we got our jazz show and our Grateful Dead show. They're awesome. So they fit right in with what we call Sunday music on the station. And our Cellular Heroes is movie music and movie quotes. And it's people that you've heard all your life in the movies, but it's these movie themes and it gives you a chance to kind of relax. And that's the way Sundays go. Saturdays right now, we have a event-friendly movie stream that's geared towards shows and events going on across the country. Because car groups were letting me know that they couldn't afford a DJ and they couldn't afford a band. So I said, look, here, I'll make you a stream. You just stream it.
Yeah.
Here you go. Get a Bluetooth. You're good to go. And they're like, what? You're going to charge for this? No, you can sponsor it. You can donate to me. Download my app, for God's sakes. It's $5. It's a donation. Please download my app. I don't care if you listen, just do it. But I said, no, just listen, because there are hundreds of these shows going on across the country, and people get into a conundrum at the church bazaar. Everybody starts whipping out their phones and our car stereos go on around. Let's solve that. So that's what we do on Saturdays. And then what we realize are the race car people and surfers, these two people, it's pretty odd because they're pretty far apart from each other. They don't believe in walls. And I don't know if you've ever heard this presented this way. I only heard it recently. But they believe in waves, and waves are energy that they work with to solve a problem. And it doesn't always work out well for them, but it usually does, as they say, and it makes a good story. Race car drivers, same way. They don't believe in walls. They look at the track as a moving thing when it's dirt. They look at the air, the temperature, the other racers as a living creature while they're in the car, and they learn to react off of things that are moving. You and I, man, we get up every once in a while, we walk out of a room, we walk into a problem, and it's like a wall. And we're like, where's the door? Why are we looking for a door? Why are we looking for a wall? Use the energy that we have that's working and ride that wave towards the goal that you're headed for. Don't fight it, work with it. And you start to realize that these race car drivers, once they get in the car, they're stuck. Everything is what it is. They're in that moment. That's the only moment they're in. And if you ask them to a person when they get out of the car, what was that like? They'll be like, man, I'd rather be in the car than talking to you. Just right then. It ain't enough. It's waiting. It's 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 incredible. And they're so those that you meet that tell you about it, it's so awesome because they've got a lot to share. And the surfers the same way. The same way. It's really kind of odd, but it's kind of interesting and it's made it a lot of fun to look at, you know?
Yeah, it is kind of cool. So it's like an adrenaline rush, I guess you could say, right? Because they want to get back to it. But I also love how you shared they believe in waves, not walls. Because to me, just the way you reference this, it's they're trying to figure out a way, right?
Right.
They're trying to get through whatever they're going through instead of like, I'm done here. I turn around, go back, or whatever it looks like, right? And that I can relate to a lot of things that people share with me on the podcast that, I've experienced and stuff like that. You stop and you're like, I'm afraid. I don't know what to go, I don't know how to get around this, go under it, go above it, go through it, right? So you just turn around and go back, or you just stay. And, I love how you shared about those two, the surfers and the race car drivers, how they just want to maneuver and get through what they're going through, because they see the possibility for something so much greater on the other side, right? Whether it's winning or not, they're getting through it.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's really kind of an interesting dynamic. So, we've gone to these races where you've got like six guys on the track. Yeah, it's pretty easy to move around when there's six guys on the track. You pretty much know it's going to win pretty quick because they separate out. You go, all right, we're just waiting to see if somebody spins. One of the races that we go to, they have these things called dwarf cars, which are 1/4 the size of a normal family automobile. For those of you at home not able to look at the internet, but anyway, they're really small. And on the same track where everybody else goes 2 wide, they can get 4 or 5 wide
Wow.
at the same speed. And they're they're kids out there too. They're 12, 13. We have a kid that we work with. He's 14. Um, and man, it gets really sporty out there with the 60 of these guys going into a turn that will only hold three. So before it was 2-1, now it's 3-2. It's like 4-2, 5-2, 6-2, and it's stacking up really quick. It's fun to watch. Much different than land speed guys, but what they all have, and it's funny, you hear a Marine say the same thing. They train, train, train. All these guys, they train, 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 train. They hit the switch, they show up and improvise. Every plan they had goes right out the window the moment the flag drops. Every as soon as they push the accelerator on that car, every plan they had goes right out the window. The car is going to do whatever it's going to do, and you are along for the ride. And it's funny because I hear people refer to these guys as gearheads, grease monkeys, dirty collar guys. Ah, yeah, he's from so and so or such and such. Yeah, he understands fluid mechanics better than you do. He's an engineer. He understands weight ratios. He understands the mechanical capability of the brake system on his car and can tell you everything about it. I mean, one after the other, after the other. These guys are STEM, and they're giving the knowledge to their kids. Why? Because they got the knowledge from their dad. I want to share these kids. They're smart. And there are other kids that are just like them that want to get into this program because it isn't just the sprint cars. It's designing cars for F1. That job pays 370,000 a year.
Mm.
It's not bad
Wow.
work if you can get it. But it's got to be what you want to do. I'm doing what I want to do, just haven't figured out how to support it. And it's been tough. It's been looking at communities, but we're talking about retirement. Retirement's been very tough. I'm a physical
Mhm.
guy. I come from wastewater industry. And there are people who want me to go back to work in wastewater and industry. And I got to be honest with you, I'm like, it's pretty nice at home.
So that brings me to another question.
Sure.
You keep pushing through as well. You keep riding the wave and all that.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I know you have all this, like you're for the kids and the radio and all that, but what's really inside of you that allows you just to keep on going forward?
I've loved teaching all my life. And I love the event of doing things. Uh, it's, I don't want to say I'm a showman or anything like that. It's not it, but sometimes, yeah. And I've really enjoyed it. So when I was younger, I was raised in an educational program called Sea Scouting. I was uniformed very quick at an early age. I was around military people in the San Francisco Bay Area from the 70s on. Brothers went to Vietnam, things like that. I myself was not capable of joining the military forces. It was a very sad time in my life. I mean, I was sad. I was a broken human being. Um, I reinvented myself and re-engaged myself to enjoy the military population in San Francisco. Became a volunteer photographer, kept working with the kids, became an officer, became a commander of my own boat. Was greeted and honored by the local military establishment in the later 80s for the work that I did as a photographic observer, which was really cool at Mare Island. Launched a couple boats out of Mare Island. And I enjoyed what it brought. And during this whole time, I was working theater. So I was working rock and roll. I was working with guys like Joe Walsh and Bonnie Raitt, Phil Collins, Peter Frampton, all of them, all of them. It was great. Shaking hands, it's great, whatever. It wasn't fulfilling. I like helping people. I really, really like helping people. And it's funny because my wife said, well, what's this about? What's this radio station about? This radio station is about getting you to communicate. And I'm doing it the best I can. That's that's what it's about. The second nature of it is about what's in it for me, what's in it for Bob. I go to these events and I film these events and it's cool. And stand out in the middle of the racetrack with my back to some car that could hit me at 110 miles an hour and I'll be dead in a second. I signed a piece of paper that says that's okay. That's funny. I love it. You go to my YouTube channel, you look at those videos, and people will go, wow, that's really cool. Whatever, nice cell phone job. No, dude. No, I was 10 feet from that car, or I was 4 feet from that car, or I was talking to Danny Thompson last week, or, a week before last, I was talking to Tony Brown out of the garage shop in North Carolina, working on NASCAR. Okay, great. They're great guys, but they're guys. I just love the show. I love helping people and I love going to the show. And there's going to come a time, and I know it. And that's probably my dad thing, where I can't go anymore. It's going to piss me off.
Yeah.
So,
What
okay,
would you do
somebody
then
else's
then?
turn.
Yeah, what would you do then?
You
If you
find
go
somebody
anywhere.
else. You find the next kid.
Hmm.
That's really the problem is we love holding stuff to the bone, right? We love all this information. This stuff's great, right? What is it that's really great? My contacts, right? My business contacts. My last 25 years in worldwide wastewater. Is that where the money is? There's no money there. Not for me. I'm doing media. Nah, not really. Racing guys, maybe. Now, if I went back to WebTech into the environmental industry and decided to sell something for somebody, yeah, maybe the contacts are there. Is that the value, or is what I learned along the way the value? And do I have to teach it to some guy doing wastewater? Answer no. If some kid's doing landscaping down the street and he asks for help with a shovel, why can't I just lean in and say, here? Just lean in and go, here, I have 5 minutes. What the hell, man? Let me
Hmm.
teach you something. Save your back. You know, right? Where are we going to
Yeah.
learn? The internet?
Not all the time, no. That you have to learn from the people that are around you, right? Watch
Right,
people and follow what they
right.
do.
You got to go where the knowledge is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really kind of incredible. About maybe 4 weekends ago, I was introduced to this kid. He was 12 years old. He races a Ford Pinto. Catch that?
Yeah.
He's 12, races a Ford Pinto. It's his second year of professional automobile racing on a 3/8 of a mile track. He's not allowed to exceed speeds of 120 miles an hour because they don't want him to get hurt.
Mm.
This kid in 8 years is going to know a heck of a lot more about race cars and driving than I ever will. And didn't even make it to college yet.
Yeah.
I want him to have a chance. And it's neat to see that happen. I don't see a lot of people doing it in the inner cities. I see it on the farms, see it in other countries, but I don't see it in our inner cities. I don't see it enough. And so if we can get a couple programs going, we can talk about programs like we're working with Sierra College Mechatronics program. Yeah, that's awesome. That's where you're going to find the future.
That's great. Yeah, I knew there was something inside of you like that said, hey, this guy, there's more to it than this, right? Um, and so yeah, I could see, I could feel it too. You know, the way you shared that, you just you love teaching and you love to see the younger generation step up and
Oh
learn
yeah.
from their, learn from the elders, right? Uh,
Yeah.
still know like the AI and all that kind of stuff, right? But it's more of the hands-on, the logical thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. AI's got a place. I mean, this car behind me, that's an AI generated car.
Hmm.
I learned to make the prompt for that. Okay. I'm 68. I can learn how to write a prompt, or I can take a picture and reverse AI it, or whatever it happens to be. People have that opportunity, but AI is an animal. You got to keep the animal in a cage. You got to feed it what you want, when you want it, and how you want it, because you don't want that baby getting loose. It gets loose, it gets really squirrely. But there's some advantages to it. There's advantages to that guy turning a wrench. AI can't it can't look at a wall on an 1840 Victorian house and figure out the plumbing problem.
Hmm.
It doesn't have that depth of experience that the plumber working 40 years for A1 Plumbing had. And when they send him over, there's a reason for it. So, yeah, it can do some stuff, maybe 90%, but that last 10%, that's ours, baby.
That's right. Yeah, we have
That
to
one's
carry it
ours.
out. I know.
Right.
Um,
Good luck to you.
exactly. And so I'll share something personally. You know, my son, he's 16 and he's going to the, like trade school through high school, right? Um, right now it's for plumbing. So like, and there's not too many kids involved in that. And of course there's other trades they can learn too, but that's the thing. You know, we already hear, how much that space is lacking the skilled workers, right? So I don't know where he's going to go with it. He's going to continue everything and not, but that's the besides the point. It's more the fact that there's opportunities still there for these young kids to learn, right? And if they can't learn it from me, because I don't know everything about plumbing, but if he wants to go learn, he can go to school and learn about it, and it's like paid for through the high school already, right? Through taxes and of course, right? So there's advantages, there's possibilities, there's opportunities for these kids to take advantage of, and you know, most of them don't even know that. So the programs you're making, where you're trying to get into is amazing. So uh, I commend you, for everything you're doing and that you keep moving forward with it, especially to help these young ones. I know you shared, uh, your website and everything like that. Would you mind just sharing it again for the listeners and people watching this so they know how to
Absolutely.
communicate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, our main portal is the radio station, which you can see behind me, but it says RadioBobUSA.com. That's just your standard internet website. You log on to it, and sometimes it comes up automatically. Sometimes you push the play button, but you can always listen for free online 24/7 worldwide as long as you get the internet. We have an application available through Google Play. Our Apple app is in development. It's rather expensive. That's why it's in development. Anyway, so you can get us on Google Play. It's a $5 donation. It's a one-time donation. You listen for free. It was our idea of trying to generate a little bit of funds to cover the paying for the race kids and all that stuff. We have a YouTube channel, which if you like auto racing, fire dancing, old movies, air shows, the thing is that you didn't expect to find it in an event. Please tune in. It's called Radio Bob USA. It's on YouTube. It's been around for about 5, 6 years. It has some incredible footage. And it's all filmed by us. It's not contributed footage. It's not borrowed. It's not stuff you've seen before. It's all original. And then my wife runs the Reiki Accountant, which is a website, the Reiki Accountant. It's also on YouTube. And it carries shows like yours, John, and other life coaching shows and spiritual development, Reiki sites. But if you have financial problems, email her. She's really good at the books, and that's what she's been doing professionally for 30 years. So just the last thing to let people know out there, I myself do trade show work and media work on the side whenever possible. I have 35 years experience in industry. I have over 45 years experience in media, 35 years experience on the water, 20 years experience in leadership working with youth and young adults on the water in the San Francisco Bay Area. And all of what we have is available to anyone who asks. We don't ask for money. We ask for sponsorship. We don't ask you to come in and buy the latest candle or tower. We ask you to donate to help the kids or to help somebody else. That's it. That's all. It's all that we do. And we hope it's enough. We hope we can get people communicating because one thing's for sure, teach your kid, teach you and me, but these kids got to get to the interview, and when they're introduced to somebody, they got to shake the hand and say hello. And they got to mean it. And the communication thing is, I don't know, man, it's gotten pretty bad.
Yeah, it has. I agree. I appreciate that. Thank you. And I'll put all that stuff in the show notes and everything.
Oh
I
yeah.
do have one question I ask everybody at the end. So, what are three key things you've learned and used along your journey?
Uh, the three things that I've learned that I haven't learned all the way yet are number one, starts with patience.
Hmm.
You can never have enough of it. You will run your whole life, and you know, you'll hear every old guy say this. Slow down, smell the flowers, take a look around, enjoy that
Exactly.
moment. Do that. Do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. At least once in a while, do that. Look at the sunset, look at the sunrise. Patience, I have none. Education, I probably should have paid attention to it. And I was given a classical education that probably could have led me to a university level, definitely a college level, because I made it to college.
Hmm.
But I probably should have paid more attention to it. There was some really good stuff there early on that I don't know kids today will find. I think reading A Tale of Two Cities is one thing as opposed to watching the podcast. I don't know if it translates the same. So I think an education on no matter what level you get it, no matter what it is, grab all of it that you can, especially when it's free. I wish I'd learned that, and I've learned that now. So whenever I get the chance to research something I'm going to work on, I research it fully. Why not? I got the time. Lastly, mind clearing hobbies. Get some. I envy the people that can spend their paycheck on duck hunting, race cars, star watching, whatever it happens to be, because I've tried them all, never liked it, sold everything, and now I'm at this part of my life and have none of them, which means I have lots of time on my hands to do even more stupid stuff. So I'll just go do that. But find a hobby, enjoy it, don't make it your job.
Hmm.
Keep it your hobby. Roses,
I
whatever.
love it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's great. So, patience, education, and then find a hobby and
find a
keep,
hobby.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, something you love.
No, that's great. So I appreciate it, Bob. I appreciate those last three. I appreciate you sharing your journey, everything about your radio show. So whoever's listening or watching this, please check out his radio show, listen to it. I'm assuming they can reach out to you and,
Oh
say
yeah.
what was the best part that they liked and all that kind of stuff, right? So I suggest you guys do that. And yeah, he's got a lot of things going on. So check it out. And again, thank you, Bob. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, John, for having me. I really appreciate it.
No, you're welcome.